Therefore, on the occasion of the European Day for Work-Free Sunday, I encourage all
introduced the Work-Free Sunday.
This must stop. We need to give a clear boundary. And this is why we must support a Work-Free Sunday.
Let's begin with this quotation here, and I'm going to share some thoughts as we go. The Sunday movement is now making its way in darkness, and the leaders are concealing the true issue. And many who unite in the movement do not themselves see whether the undercurrent is tending or working how? In blindness. And this is coming from Review and Herald, December 11th, 1888. So now, I'm going to come back to this quotation. We want to end with it as well. On my screen today, we had Adventist Today speaking about the European Sunday Alliance calls for work-free Sundays across the EU. Now, this is not a new call. We are highlighting them today because they're in a hot seat at Advent Media Connect. Now, here is the other thing. European Sunday Alliance issued new manifesto promoting a work-free Sunday. And again, there is a link in a work together with Catholic Church in the EU. Now, before we listen to some of the videos that I have to share with you, I want to first give you the background and the origin of this movement. It started in 2010 in Brussels, Belgium, in its coalition with the trade unions, religious organizations, family associations, and civil society groups advocating for the protection of Sunday as a weekly day of rest across the Europe and abroad. So now their main goal is very simple: to promote laws and policies that ensure Sunday remains a work-free day in the EU and beyond. Now, this organization is supported by a number of religious groups, of course, Christians organizations, the Catholic Church, and many other Protestant groups, and the labor union, I place emphasis on this for a reason, also advocate for a work right to rest. Now, we have that. And the question is, why do they feel like doing it? They have their reasons and arguments. One is religious observance, and the second reason is mental health and well-being, and also family and social bonds and economic fairness. These are some of the reasons why they give for pushing for a work-free Sunday. On our screen now, we have Gabrielle Bishkoff on the EU Day for Work-Free Sunday. Listen to her argument. We're going to reason with that, talk about that, and I got some more things to share with you. Let's get to the video.
In our fast-paced world filled with deadlines, responsibilities, meetings, and the constant buzz of technology, it's easy to overlook what is important in life and the importance of collectively taking a break. Already the Roman Emperor Constantine recognized the special importance of a common day off and introduced the work-free Sunday. To protect the Sunday as a common day off is especially important for our societies, for the social cohesion. It is particular importance since we do not just need free time. Yes, we need to recharge our batteries and do other tasks. But what we really need is synchronized quality times with our families, friends, in our communities and networks. Friends and family are the core of our social life, and more than anything else, we need this quality time that we can all spend together. This is why I'm happily supporting the European Sunday Alliance in our fight for this crucial achievement. The European Day for Work-Free Sunday reminds us of the need to take collective breaks and thereby create spaces where we all can come together.
Okay, so the family, labor, time together, and just pushing against this commercialization and the labor market and the pressures that are being applied on Sunday is part of the reasons why they feel motivated for such a movement. Okay, so that's just one video. We're going to share a few more, and you're going to see a similar pattern in the argument being presented. Now, let's listen to another one. This is Brando Benefier of the European Work-Free Sunday, and listen to the claim once again.
Work-free Sunday must be guaranteed for everyone. We need a work-life balance that is real, that is concrete, which means that we have the time for our family life, for our private interests, for our passions, for thinking, for living outside of the work time. Sometimes today we see this as a blending situation between private life and work life. This must stop. We need to give a clear boundary. And this is why we must support a work-free Sunday.
Keep in mind, we must put an end to what you guys are doing, right? Even, I know these people don't have bad intent, but I'm trying to explain to you the motivation and the reasons behind it is very diabolical. This is Miriam Lexman. You're gonna see a similar argument being made here. Take a listen.
Dear friends, as a long-term sponsor of the European Sunday Alliance, I'm proud to support the goal of ensuring the work-free Sunday. A synchronized week time of rest is very important in our fast-paced world. The work culture of modern society doesn't leave enough of time to enjoy with our loved ones. Children spend more and more time online. This not only affects their relationship with parents, grandparents and siblings, but also seriously impacts their development and mental health. Mental health of adults is at stake too. As a member of the Committee on Employment and Social Matters, I repeatedly call on better work-life balance and more quality time offline, time spent with family and friends. Therefore, on the occasion of the European Day for Work-Free Sunday, I encourage all stakeholders to jointly continue our efforts to turn the idea of a synchronized day of rest into reality. It is essential for well-being of all citizens and better functioning society.
All right, unlike the first two, right, Miriam Lexman places more emphasis on the mental health of the children. So you get the same idea, family, social, labor, mental health, and all these different reasons. And again, those reasons can increase, but nevertheless, they're still asking for a work-free Sunday. The religious element is also there, keep in mind. Majority of the people who are making this move, who are pushing for this, are Christians, at least the ones that I've looked at. Here is another one. We got some more of that coming your way.
Imagine a workplace where the incessant ping of emails doesn't follow you into your evenings and weekends. Let's take a moment to reflect on why a work-free Sunday really matters. This day isn't merely a pause in the weekly grind, it's a deliberate act of self-care and a collective commitment to prioritize the well-being of our workers, their families, and societies as large. Sundays offer a rightful opportunity for quality resting time, fostering a sense of replenishment. On this annual European Day for a work-free Sunday, let us delve deeper into a crucial aspect of modern work culture, the right to disconnect. It is the directive initiated by the European Parliament that stands as a beacon for the well-being of workers, recognizing the need for a balance between our professional and personal lives. It's a celebration not just of a day off, but of the profound importance of a work-free Sunday. In a world where our smartphones and digital tools keep us tethered to the work around the clock, completely connected, the right to disconnect is a bold move to redefine the boundaries between work and personal time. It emphasizes the importance of allowing employees to disengage from work-related communication outside their designated working hours. The right to disconnect, and by extension, a work-free Sunday, encourages employers to establish clear policies that respect the personal time of their workforce. It is a call to recognize that employees shouldn't be expected to be on call 24/7, fostering a healthier work-life balance. This directive champions a shift towards a workplace culture that values rest, recreation, and the importance of fully disconnecting during non-working hours. It understands that quality personal time is not just a luxury, but a necessity for a productive and satisfied workforce. When employees are allowed to fully disengage during their non-working time, they return to their duties refreshed, contributing to increased productivity and overall job satisfaction. So, as we celebrate this annual European Day for a Work-Free Sunday, let's acknowledge a fundamental truth. Workers have a life outside their work.
I hope you've seen the pattern, right? This is the same pattern that is being built. Work-free Sunday, rights of workers, family life, social well-being. Even though there is a religious element, they don't tend to put that forward. Of course, they know that's going to get some serious pushback, but nevertheless, they're still pushing something religious, and which doesn't mean it's always bad to push something religious. But what if what you're pushing is even anti-biblical? Even if it were biblical, right? Pushing for a Sunday law is still a violation of liberty of conscience. Now, Let's go into the history because I'm going to show you what's happening here prophetically. This is a prophetic movement. I'm going to show you how it is prophetic as well. So, according to Ministry Magazine, there was this article written here in Ministry Magazine, and it's speaking about some of the reasons why there was a pagan Sunday observance and also the Constantine law. It explaining why the reason Constantine in March 7, AD 321, passed a Sunday law. It didn't just happen in a vacuum, guys. There were reasons happening in Rome that were very troubling. So I'm going to read some of the reasons for you highlighted here in this article in Ministry Magazine. So number one, we are told Sunday was named after the sun by the heathen because this orb was widely believed by them to be the astrological deity who preside over the day. That's why the heathen call Sunday Sunday. Crucial. Sunday was assigned by the heathen to the presidency of the sun in the astrological calendars widely used by them throughout the Roman Empire. Sunday was generally regarded by the heathen as a sacred day of the sun, which they worship as the chief of the astrological deities. The sun has always been the chief gods of deity. Baal, Marduk. Okay, you can go on to call them different names in different cultures, but it's always been the worship of Baal. Okay, so now on Sunday, prayers were recited to the sun by his devotees because they considered that day as special, holy to him. So I can give you many more reasons. This could take probably another 5 minutes to really milk the rest of it. I can link this in the description below so that you can take a listen to it. But I also love this article written by on Fulcrum 7. On Fulcrum 7, they are speaking about Constantine's Sunday law, and it's kind of like fleshing some of the reasons behind it. And look at what is being said. Unlike what the excuses of many modern day Christians is, oh, Sunday is because Paul did this, or we can't go to church on Sunday, Jesus resurrected. That's all a facade. These are all lies. That's not really what Constantine had in mind when he puts the Sunday law. And the church fathers understood this. Now, they had their excuses back then, but today the Christian world just has to be honest. Sunday is pagan. It's originated from paganism. Its root is paganism. It's still paganism, and it's going to remain that way until Jesus comes. So what we are told, it does not say that the solemnity of the Sabbath is being transferred to Sunday. It does not say because of the resurrection of Jesus on Sunday, hence Christians ought to observe Sunday. It does not say there is a biblical reason for Christians to keep Sunday instead of the Sabbath. The law of Constantine does not say that the apostles kept the Sunday instead of the Sabbath day, argued that the Sabbath had been changed. It does not say that the church fathers up to 321 argued that the solemnity of the sacredness of Sabbath has been changed to Sunday. It does not say such a thing. And that's what's amazing about this article. I can link it in the description below. And what he quoted here is the idea behind the sun god. Sol Invictus was the official sun god of the latter Roman Empire. On December 25th, oh boy, somebody's gonna get upset with me. On December 25th, AD 274, the Roman Emperor Aurelian made it an official religion alongside traditional Roman cults. The god was favored by Roman soldiers by several of the emperors after Aurelian, who stamped the inscription Sol Invictus on the coin. And the last inscriptions referring to the Sol Invictus date, AD 387, and were enough devotees in the 5th century AD, the 400s, and that Augustine preached against. Record shows Constantine was himself a worshipper of the unconquered sun himself until his conversion, supposed conversion, they should say, in AD 321. I'm going to explain why. So you do have it here, this coin with Constantine name and images on it, and the reverse have the image of unconquerable sun and bearing the inscription Soli Invictus Committee. So there you have it. This is the Arch of Constantine. Looking at it as well, still has the element of the sun god in it. So the rising from the ocean in his chariots, his torch-bearing Lucifer before him, and the thunder of the sun. So this is why a lot of historians have argued it's highly possible that Constantine never converted. Even what's on his head here was also referring to the sun god. So let me share another piece of article with you that I thought was also very, very understanding. And this was not written by one of us. This is Church of God, and they are speaking against what they are realizing Constantine has done. There seems to be an understanding as well. But when you do look at the law that Constantine put in place in the history of Christianity, all judges, city people, and craftsmen shall rest on the venerable day of the sun, which is Sunday, but countrymen may, without hindrance, attend to agriculture, since it is often it often happens that this is the most suitable day for sowing grain and planting vines. So you have the element of work here, but there is still some exemption, at least in the way this law was passed. It had no teeth, no persecution happened right after, but it took a little bit of while before it began to create serious problems. But some of the concerns that people had is that Constantine really did not really convert. It's not like he was really a pagan emperor, even though there was a profession to Christianity, but it was a Christianity that was merged with paganism. So Constantine did indeed retain the pagan high priest title, Pontific Maximus. Have you heard this title being used today? It is still being used, and the new pope has been called the Pontific Maximus, which means bridge builder. For a decade, his coins continue to feature some of the pagan gods, notably his favorite deity, the unconquered sun. It is important to understand Constantine previous religion, the worship of the unconquered god. Constantine continued to identify the sun with the Christian God in some way, a belief made easier by the tendency of Christian writers and artists to use the sun imagery in portraying Christ. For them, Christ is the source of light and salvation. And mosaic from a 3rd century tomb found under St. Peter's, Rome, even showed him as the sun god in his chariots. So the idea of merging Christianity with paganism was what historian calls baptized paganism. So the pagans didn't die. They simply changed their religion and make it more Christians, and the Christians went along with it. Another church historian speaks about this, saying it's probable that Constantine set out with a deliberate intention to favor the church. So there was an intent to favor the church, right? And even if that were so, it was necessary to placate the pagans. Consequently, the policy agreed upon at Milan was a recognition of the complete parity of religions. But as the reign progressed, Constantine supported the Christians more and more. And one can only conclude that his aim was to make of Christianity the cement that was to bind together the whole empire. So this was good for politics. That argument is still happening today. It's still happening today. So we can read so much more about this, and historians have covered some of the reasons why what has been said is not really what it is. So there is what is called as the Project 25 tracker, which we have been tracking, paying attention to. There's a lot happening there. And in Project 25, there is this element. And again, Jonathan Berry is one of those guys. We gotta keep an eye on him, because some of the moves that are happening in that arena will be led by him. He is the man who wrote this piece in Project 2025 under the labor union. We've talked about this before. You can take a picture of this. They're talking about Sabbath rest, and they are connecting it to the Labor Work Act, and it is right there. That day will default. We are talking about Congress should encourage. Here it says Congress should encourage communal rest by amending the Fair Labor Standard Act to require that the workers be paid overtime half an hour work on the Sabbath. Now, this is not a nothing burger. It's actually a big deal. While we can't run with this and make bad decisions before things are placed in before things become a reality. We still have to trace the prophetic movement, but nevertheless, this is not something we should turn our eyes away from, because what they're calling for, they're talking about Sabbath, but there is a clause in there, and I give credit for that they will default to Sunday, they say, except for employers with a sincere religious observance of a Sabbath, okay, at a different time, which is from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So there is a clause here for Jewish people, Seventh-day Adventists. You may not agree with this Sunday law, and they're not saying you have to keep it, but they're saying we're gonna make some room for you guys. But what kind of room are they making? So they're giving us a clause that can eventually be taken away anytime. That's what makes it very interesting. But what is crucial is the fact the Labor Act is being highlighted here. This is no difference that what the Europeans are calling for, the European Sunday Alliance movement is calling for. Now, the difference is they're coming from this issue more from they're looking at it from a societal standpoint, right? But others are looking at it from a spiritual, moral standpoint. Still problematic. You're still merging it now. Where is this prophetically in the Word of God? If you go to Revelation chapter 13, you will find it being described in the Bible. You have in verse 16 of the chapter, speaking about the mark of the beast, is that he causes all, both small, great, rich, and poor, free and bond. International. Doesn't matter your race and your culture. This is going to impact every single person. And then we are told to receive a mark where? In the right hand or in their forehead. So now there are two places where this mark will be received. One is either in the right hand or in their forehead. Heads talks about your belief system, conviction, frontal lobe, decisions. So this is where the head is, right? So the hand, and the Bible says, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10, the scripture tells us, whatsoever your hand find to do, do it with your might. There is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. So what the Bible tells us, your hand symbolizes work. So there goes the labor aspect of things, right? So you get the understanding why Revelation tells us in verse 16 that the mark of the beast will be both given in the right hand, labor, compromisation. You can say, I'm doing it for family. I'm doing it for women's right. I'm doing it for human rights. I'm doing it for social issues. I'm doing it for climate change reasons, right? We're going to abstain on Sunday and obey the words of the beast. You can have whatever the reasons may be, but you're still in direct violation of God's law, because in the same process, you break the Sabbath to keep that day. The reason doesn't necessarily change, but it is still in the right hand. But there is another group, which we're not going to talk about today, those who receive the mark of the beast in their foreheads. And those individuals, they are convicted. They believe Sunday is the Sabbath. And no matter what we say, they argue with you. That is still going to give them the mark of the beast if they do not repent. Now, it's one thing the truth never came to them. They never knew God is merciful. But when the truth of the Sabbath comes home to you, listen, you're in a dangerous position if you reject it. Now, I want to end with the same passage where we started. We spoke about how the Sunday movement is now making its way in darkness. It's no longer in darkness, my friends. It's out for all of us to see. The leaders are concealing the true issue, and many who unite in the movement do not themselves see whether the undercurrent is standing. Let me tell you, these are not evil people, friends. These are not evil people. They really believe they're doing something good. They're not bad people. They really believe they're doing something good, but guess what? They have it wrong, and they do not themselves see whether the undercurrent is standing. They can't see. They are working in blindness. They do not see if a Protestant government sacrifices the principles that has made them a free, independent nation, and through legislation bring into the Constitution principles that will propagate papal falsehood. So they may not realize what they're doing, but they're pushing Roman Catholic delusion and falsehood, false teachings from Romish Church. That's what they're pushing. They are plunging. Again now, they're doing this in darkness. They are plunging the world into the Roman horrors of the Dark Ages. Friends, this is what's happening in a light of Bible prophecy. Let's get ready, let's stay ready, and share this message with somebody else that they may get ready. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next video. Have a good one. Bye.